Okay, well, thank you for sticking around after, I'm sure, what has been a long day. So what we're going to quickly cover is some new enhancements to what we've done in our current tool set, and we're going to take a quick look at an up-and-coming tool set that we've got in beta, and is actually available right now. Some bad news, you're going to have to listen to me for the next few minutes. Good news is, let's keep it informal, keep it quite short, and let's finish on a high and finish the day. And we've got a couple of prizes to give away. Main prize is a license to our new product, with also a license to the control that it's wrapping. Total value is about $620, so it's not a bad prize, to be fair. Okay, our Noyantis products. We'll go with the enhancing of an application to start with. And what I thought we would choose to start with is the old C55 school app. Now, I'm sure we have all used it at some point in our histories. And if you can't remember, that's how it looked. It served a purpose back in the day when we all had to learn Clarion and so on, but it wouldn't cut it in today's environment. So let's see what we can do with this application. We're not going to do the dev. If anyone's interested in how we do stuff, I can tell you, but contact me, I can tell you, but I can tell you none of it is hard to do. I took this to the example you'll see at the end, and obviously I know my product, but it only took a couple of hours. So the first step I did to it was to change those standard list boxes and to apply the CodeJock report control. So now your sorting isn't done via tabs, which they were done back in the day. They're done by the column header. Not the biggest of changes, but definitely more in line with what you would expect from a modern application, with the ability to be able to rearrange as you would expect. You can remove columns, you can have a field picker to bring them back in, so on and so forth. So that's the first quick enhancement we did to it. Next, on that same report control, we turned on the inline facilities. Now, any of you who've already got our current products, this was added this year, a few months ago, and it's under the, I think it's appearance, options, no, it's under options, inline controls, and you've got a search and a filter. You can have either one of them on or off. You don't have to have them together. I've decided to put them on this and give them a particular colour. The orange colour, if that's technically what it is a filter, and the green is a search. To add this facility to your list is literally just one tick. Of course, if you want to apply the colour, it's a couple of ticks. So it will build, if you want it to, all the unique values that it's just been loaded into the actual control. So if I was to search for Bagby, I'm sure it's there somewhere. I'll tell you what, let's sort it in that. And there it is, highlighted. If I was to search for BA, there's all the BAs. So very powerful, very easy, users like it, and really easy for us to implement. Of course, you've got the facility of filtering as well. So let's take that to CA. Of course, there's no BAs to highlight, but now our set has just been narrowed down. So that's searching and filtering of the report controls. We know them as lists and browse. It's just CodeJock call them report control. So next, sticking with that same control, we thought we would give it some grouping facility. So let's just give ourselves a bit more room here. Same control, and all we've give on this is a checkbox to say give them grouping capability, and give them a couple of default groups. So we've got by year and then by major. And you can see here we've got 97, and then by business. Within that, computer science, English, law, and so on. So now our original Clarion browse is starting to look pretty usable, I think. And of course, the user can change all this if they so like. So we'll go, okay, we would like it by, maybe not telephone, that'd be a poor one. By last name. And of course, all these options are save and restorable. So that's our list, and we've done it to all of them. So all our browse screens are now much more friendly, much more easier to use. But let's just quickly go back into that. We've still got the traditional menu across the top. So just as I opened a couple of screens there, it's the old way, I would say, of doing stuff. It works, but there's better. So we apply docking and task panels. Now the application does start to look different. We've got navigation on the left. We still left it up at the top to be able to get to all the options, but here's our same options. But this time they're docked. So now I've got my work area. I can still switch between the two. I'm on students. I go click on Debbie, back to teachers, back to students. So it's just like we were a minute ago, switching between the two windows, but from a UI point of view, much cleaner, much crisper. And they're working on a big screen. There's lots of data. They want to look at it, and they're in there for a few hours. Let's get rid of the navigation. Let's fold that back, work on the screen, let the user focus on what they're supposed to be focusing on, not what we tell them is on. When they need to switch, fold it out, click, go back, and let it put itself away. So that is using the docking panes capability and the task panel capability. So this is the task panel on the left. We've hosted it in a docking pane, and this is a Clarion browse procedure on the right, and we've hosted that in a docking pane. And all of the browse windows we've put into a collection, and basically we've just said, when any one member of the collection comes into focus, hide the other members. So a bit of training there for you if you already have the products and you're using them. We define numerous panes and put them part of a collection. We have a question?
So Andy, behind the scenes on that browse, is that a maximized browse, or is that just a browse and it's...
There's a standard Clarion browse. All the code, I didn't look at the embed code, it was written back in C55, but it's a standard Clarion browse. I've applied the report control over the top. I have put it to work in file loaded. It supports page loaded, but it's a little... Okay. I prefer it in file loaded personally. I put it into file loaded, and I just put it to 0, 0, 0, full and full. Okay. That's all I've really done. But it's not part of the window, which is... It's not part of this window. It's off on its own procedure thread. It's still the standard running procedure.
Right. So. And so I assume as the application frame has changed in size, that's moving with it as well?
The application frame is obviously still there. I've put a separate layer between the two. So you've got your application frame, and they then open a MDR child window, which is maximized, and that becomes my docking host, which contains the docking pane control. That will then take charge of any of the child windows opening. Okay, thank you. So just having that layer in between them gives you much more flexibility, because working on the app frame has limitations, so that's why. We're flying through this. Down at the bar soon. Okay, so that was the docking pane and the task panel. Really powerful controls. Task panel's good for navigation. Docking pane's good for making the most of the workspace. So, and that doesn't necessarily have to go on just the to host the browsers. In my applications, which at the end of this, I will actually fire up a live application and one of our training applications, and I run a combination of both. I have that navigation which you've just seen there, but then actually on my browsers, on my browse procedures, I have that running its own docking pane manager, and I put the content into panes. So the field picker to be able to bring the report control columns back into play is on there, but folded away. So it's still giving all the functionality to the end user, but keeping the maximum workspace while they're doing the task at hand. So sticking with our enhancements to the UI, I thought I'd just add a quick chart to the data. The charting's really powerful. It supports numerous charting styles, and it's really easy to populate. You can bind it to a queue, you can bind it to a list, you can manually populate it, and you can even specify it in a template, although I'm not quite sure why you want to do that. To bind to the list, you say what the list control is and just tell it the values that you want to plot. Once the data's in there, you can change the property of the actual interface and change it from a bar to a line to a pie. It's just one call, and it'll render straight away, and it's extremely fast. It's one of the fastest I've found. Okay, so we've still got our navigation across the top because we've got our browsers, if you will, but what I haven't done is give you access to the reports. So I thought I'd introduce the command bar. So now we've got rid of the Clarion menu completely. I've just put them on a ribbon, just purely for demonstration purposes. You can have any number of tabs on the ribbon, of course. You've got 3 styles which can be implemented: tabbed bar, ribbon bar, and a command bar, for confusion. They support the system tab, if you will, which is the historical round button in the ribbon interface. And in development at the moment, and it will be in the next build, the next major update to the command bar is the backstage view. So if anyone's ever had, let's say, Excel or Outlook, and you click, and this comes out, this is a backstage view. So that's supported in the next build. Okay, so what we've done so far is taken the app, we've taken their existing, I've not done anything with that particular procedure, it's still as it was. If you was doing the full makeover of this app, then that would become a report control. It supports trees, any number of trees, and the tree can be on any column as well. It doesn't have to be fixed to the left. It can be on the 4th column across. It's your design. It's however you want to do it. There's no limit. Well, can't say there's no limitations, no such thing, but it's very versatile. Now we want to add more to this. So I figured they would want a calendar. So I added another group. And all these groups are collapsible, of course. Forgot to mention, with one of the nice things of the task panel is all the settings you see here, the report controls, the command bars where you can have quick access options, and the task panel, they are all save and restorable. How you want to save and restore the data is entirely up to yourself. I usually have a setup of something like user ID, procedure ID, and if you've got multiple controls, a control ID, and then it's just a string. So it's a very, very simple record structure. Have that, and then basically you can save any of the settings from any of the controls in that. So on the task panel, we let the users reorganize them themselves. Of course, that might scare you. You think support's going to be a nightmare. You've got full control over it, whether you want to let them do that or not, and also which ones you want them to be able to do it on. So it might be the classes, they're not sortable, they're not reorganizable, but the options are. Good, for instance, is in the applications which I've done, we have a set of shortcuts up at the top, keep them static because they're kind of quick access shortcuts, but then we have favorites, frequents, and other, and the users, it's up to them to set up their own preferences. And when they log out from one terminal, logging in another terminal, their settings follow them around. So a calendar, we've added a calendar. Oh, yeah, it's there. Yes, it's a calendar, basically. Very, very powerful. I always say that, but yeah. Supports drag and drop. Very easy to move around, resize. Got settings, anything you can set on any of the options here can be set via the class afterwards. You've got the template to write a good set of default code for you, but then you can override to your heart's content. You could say, I want that to be movable, but not resizable. I don't want that to be movable or resizable at all. I don't want any of them to be. I only want the future ones to be movable, but the historicals can't be. It's just one setting. Very, very powerful, very simple. Supports the standard recurring events. So you could give it basically a pattern, daily, weekly, monthly, a variation of weekly, a variation of monthly. So you could say daily every 2 days, or monthly, the second Friday of the month, monthly, the last working day of the month, and that will repeat for however you want it to repeat, however long, but it's just one record in your database, and the calendar will apply the pattern until it's told to do so. We've given you facilities to be able to extract that data out. So if you did want to report on it, or analyze it, or basically track it, you could do that. Use a calendar to populate it and then extract it out into a queue. Very simple. That can be brilliant from a calendar point of view, from an appointment system. That coupled together with the report control in what I consider a scheduling type approach gives you even more power. So now I'm looking at the calendar, but I'm also looking at them same elements plotted onto a report control in track bar mode. So now I can pick that up and move it around. So the track bar for scheduling type applications can be really powerful. Any questions so far? No? Cool, good. Okay. Another quick option which I thought we'd put in is we've got our application and the user needs help. They want to be able to go to our website and get some help. The controls include a web browser. It can load static HTML, a URL, a file HTML. So basically, there we go. We've just got it going to our Noyantis website. But you could have that as a support on your application, so the user's never going external to your application. That could be online help, of course, keeping the content current. So yeah, so now we've got our web browser built in, as well as the application, so we can switch, take a look, let's just fold these back, take a look, go back to our help, we're reading it, and hey presto, the user's got what they wanted, but not called your support desk.
What browser is working behind the scenes in that case?
It's IE.
It is IE. So is it what IE is on their system, or is it a version of IE that goes out with the tool, or?
Oh, it goes out with the tool, but what IE engine I'd have to check.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then last but not least, one thing which we put in our applications is they log in and it's a new version. So we put a screen up to say what's new in this version. We give them the ability to turn the option off because you don't want it to put in the face all the time, but it puts itself back on again at every new version. So at least it can know that they've got a new version and take a quick look at the facilities. So far as we've been opening the application, we've got our work area empty. So I thought, what better place to put a PDF? So we have our PDF wrapper. It supports It supports Tracker, WP Cubed, Adobe, Skysoft, Viscom Image, Viscom PDF. So there's like half a dozen engines there, what it supports natively now. You don't have to worry about the commands. You just tell it to open file, close file, page next, page previous, and it will work out the commands on the back end. So the idea is it's one generic approach. So that's using the Adobe engine. And then the user's off to go and use the system as it was. That, of course, under the help, one other wrapper, I've not put it on here, but we could actually have videos, and we do, just like with the PDF, it's a generic, you're getting the generic interface, and it will work out the back-end commands. We've also done the same with media. So you could have your help videos with your application under the help, and have your video playing there as and when. Probably maybe with controlled via a tree, something like that. And that supports Windows Media, Viscom Player, I can't remember, I think there's about half a dozen different media players that it supports as well. So basically, we've taken our app, let's have a look at a good one that. We've taken that, maximise it just to play fair, to that in not many steps at all. And I think hopefully you'll agree, it's from a usability and from an appearance as well. It it works better. I'm a big believer, first and foremost, your products, they've got to do what they say, and they've got to work and accomplish the tasks that they've been purchased for. But the appearance can also play a factor. Basically, your software and our software and my software is your shop window. And if it doesn't look good, the person's going to walk straight past and go to the next one. And unfortunately, that's your competitor. It's just how it is. And as well as the appearance, it can actually add usability. There we've got this, the grouping. I think that is much better than the Clarion one. To accomplish that on the Clarion browse, you're in for a bit of work. You're not going to accomplish it with a standard browse. You're going to have to put it into some kind of queue and tree it. So, and then to give the user the ability to regroup, again, you'd be into a whole world of work. And yet that's accomplishable in one tick and 2 specifiers of the columns. So that's it for that, for the code jock. The suite obviously contains so much more. Syntax editor, property grids, flow graph, which is a nice UI type approach. They have it as a flow graph control. I don't see it as that. Of course, it does flow graphs, and it does, I forget the second name one, but you can also plot a load of images. So, for example, maybe you're doing restaurant software, and you want your table plan. You could have it there and let them basically drag the tables around, and these would be physical images of tables. So you can use it actually as a painter. Oh, yes.
So when the user has multiple tasks going with this view, this updated UI look, they've got like, customer list showing, a purchase order list showing, and then, a new sale they're working on. I mean, how do you see, is there a task panel that shows them and they can click between?
No, not in this, and not in the application I'm going to show you next, which is a live application. But one thing we did do on a practice management system, which I was working for somebody else, it was for dental practice. It's a good point because you could have quite a few things open. Like hypothetically, you could be in students and editing the student, and you could be in courses and editing the course. So we put a little panel just above the navigation, which was the Clarion drop-down. And as as update forms, so basically imagine a level 2 window, if you will, opened, we just kept a track of it. And we put the title in there. We knew which thread it was on and so on. So it was a drop-down. And if they went to the drop-down, it would say, update student, whatever the title, it pitched the title off the window. So if you've put your updating student Mrs. Wendy Wilton, it will drop down and say you're out in the middle of updating Wendy Wilton. Clicking on it, toot you to the Fed, just brings it back into focus.
Okay.
So,
And this view right here, and I don't know if you worked on any of the forms, but if you double-click the browse item and the form
no,
comes
not really.
up,
They're just,
so that's just the standard Clarion form.
Yeah.
I assume that you could make it part of that, lower
Yes.
right quadrant, and it would.
You can actually go one better, actually. Go on. Don't know if to try it or break it. But basically what you can do, Mike Hansen set a challenge a few years ago. He had the form, and basically, if the browse is open, you can't click on it. Sorry, if the form is open, you can't get to the browse. So what's the point in seeing it? So this works on layering. So you can say, this form, make this available. You're not calling it directly, but make it available as docking pane content. And what it will do then is, as it opens, it will have a look on its thread. Is there a parent window on this thread already open? If there is, it will take over the space of its parent. And when it closes, it will bring the parent back in.
Okay.
So automatically. But if it's called without being called via one of the docking panes, it would open in a normal manner, giving you dual use of your windows.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the code jock. Any other information you like, please feel free to contact us and check out the demos on the website and so on. So the other product we've been, I said I'd show you an application. So this is basically a look and feel of a resource management app that we do. So basically we can have, just as you've seen, you've got your searches, so on and so forth. I'll have a quick look at forms. Yes, I've gotten on. And to show you the property grid, we allow you to define your own forms. And these can be medical forms, insurance forms, questionnaires. We let the actual users of software, the administrators really, set up their own forms and their own grids. And the idea being that they can ask any series of questions. So for example, on this one, it's going to ask 5 questions. It's going to ask for a date, some text, a yes/no indicator, give them options, but we want a single answer, give them options and take multiple answers. And as they're asking that question, you can give them a default value and so on. We'll let you give it some HTML. So give them a tip while they're filling in the question. So there's some HTML and a tooltip. Let's see that in action. We've also got that similar in a grid. I've used it, okay. But you could ask those same questions, but you want to propose that as a grid to the user and not a property grid as a question. So let's go back to me. Let's give myself that form. And there it is. And if I go on there, there's my HTML help giving me some guidance. Related information, there's none set up on this. And there's my tip. And that's basically asking for the questions. That's similar setup, but in a grid style. That's the same, but now got a fault on the SQL. But basically it would ask and build a grid, so a chronological series of answers. So that's a type of application. You can see which way you do. Go back to this browse. Let's get rid of me, so to speak. And we can fold out. Let's get rid of telephone 2, mobile, email. Oh no, I want email. Let's bring that there. Pin it so I can work on it. Bring it back. Unpin it. And that basically, for the sake of 10 pixels, gives you the power to be able to fold things out, use them, put them back. Okay. So the other product which we've been working on is for a wrapper, a template, sorry, a control called ChillCat. Now, ChillCat, it's the ChillCat's been going for quite a while. We first used them, I think it was 2013, 2011 or 2013, 2013 I think, and we needed it to basically do some HTTP requests and so on and so forth. Since then, it's grown in size, and we've decided to do a wrapper for it. It's very powerful. There are 96, I think it's 96 or 92 classes to it, and we're going to wrap the lot. Not done them all yet, we're in the process of doing them, but it's a one-stop shop for any API work you'll ever have to do. And not only that, for other work as well. Zipping, certification, string manipulation, JSON, XML. It's JSON is totally unlimited, and it's all uses dot notation. So if you've got a very complex JSON structure which you send, maybe parent, grandparent, parent, child, and then an array within that, it would literally be grandparent dot parent dot child dot property array element 1, and you just pass it, and it would build the JSON straight from that. You can build a really complex JSON structure in just one command. And the beauty of it is, if you receive the JSON in that same structure, there's no limitation. You're not having to bring it out and put it into any kind of Clarion structure. You can just bring it back as one. You get it back as one result, and you just query it. So it's really powerful, and for sub-arrays and sub-arrays and so on and so forth, it's just text dot notation. Really simple to get to. Applications for this, quite a lot. The things we've used it for already is Zero accounting. We've already done a full interface into Zero accounting. Google Calendar. We're currently working on Office 365 Calendar. Basically, we're doing this a dual approach on this. We're doing single, covering all the single classes, but we're also doing a higher level approach where you have what you call a task class. So if you want to see this in action, let's say the Google Calendar. We've added ChillCat to the window as an extension. I'm just going to say which ones I want to make use of the base classes, and in this case there's none, but you can see there's 90 odd, believe me. I'm going to go to the task class, and this is where we come in and help you. For you to get a connection into Google, you'd be using the Google Auth, or maybe OAuth 2, you'd be using REST, you'd be using the JSON and the PFX classes. You don't have to worry about any of it. For you to get into a connection, this happens to be using, sorry, not that. This happens to be using a service client to get access to it. But for you to get it, it would be a one-off call. It would be connect to Google, give it the file name to your PFX and what user you want to emulate. And to see that in action, in live action, if you will, we'll have okay. Let's just bring that back so we can at least give ourselves a bit of room. There we go. Noyantis at CIDC. If I was to bring Google into play, and there's Noyantis CIDC. Let's bring it a bit more up. Let's put it to 6 o'clock. I'm just waiting for Chrome to do its job. Maybe a refresh. Oh, just waiting for it, sorry, basically. We'll insert one. Test. That's gone in. for some reason, I don't know if it's the broadband here, but a refresh. Thank you, there's a test. Likewise, we put one in here, test 2, and give it a colour, give it green. And where was that? Oh, it's a little higher, we can see that that's gone there. There's test 2. Now that's using a service client interface in Google. We've got to make sure it works with the OAuth 2, which there's no reason why it shouldn't. But basically that's the Chillcat wrapper. I've done a couple of examples. So from the task, we've got Dropbox. So we can see here I've got an access token. I've shrunk it down a little so you can't actually see the full token, funnily enough. Connect into it. Got a connection, download, and there's my structure. That's the JSON results for my Dropbox. Of course, we need to put a few more things on there of upload file, download file. The way I'll be tackling that in my application will be bring that down, build a queue, and then I'll use the report control in icon view to visually show the files, and then let you manipulate them files at that level. So basically the user won't see any of this, they'll see a nice UI, picture of a file, picture of a folder, just like Explorer, but it'll be in the application rather than shelling out to the actual OS. Here's Xero, connect to Xero, download. Xero's an online accounting package, if anyone didn't know. Very popular. And there we go. Bringing data back, that's contacts. Clients, sorry. The interface we've already done brings down the sales invoices, sales credit notes, puts up the sales invoices, new ones, updates to invoices and credit notes. Same with purchase ledger, brings down tax rates, currencies, so on and so forth. Very powerful. Other uses for Chillcat, we're just straight from the examples which we'll be covering, are Amazon interface, PayPal, Facebook, Twitter, I think it was Salesforce. There's quite a few. So now that's currently obviously in its infancy. I mentioned in our session today when I took on a particular controller and did some unit testing for it. It was this Chillcat particular product. I fired it up, left it running for 5 days solid, basically over a long weekend. It didn't miss a heartbeat. It just sat there, did its job. And then I did a second test, but it worked as long, I think it was only 4 days, where I had it installed as a service, and it just sat there, bringing the data down and dumping them out to XML files. So it's rock solid. And it's, without doubt, probably the fastest comms library I've ever seen. So that's really it. Going forward, as well as working on the Chillcat and finishing that with the task. I mean, it'll never really finish, just as the code drop ones never finish. We're always evolving, we're always adding new. With the Chillcat, when the 96 base ones are done, we'll be enhancing more task ones. So there will be task Google, which we've already got, and you need to furnish more. There will be task PayPal, task Facebook, task Twitter, so on and so forth, with the intention it will be nice and simple. And then last but not least is, if anyone remembers, years ago there was GSEC, there was GCalc, GNotes, GSEC and so on. We got the rights to GCalc and we completely rewrote it and released it. We got the rights to GSEC and LGP, Look Good package. GSEC's having a full makeover at the moment. Pure source code, class-based and so on. And at the heart of it will still be, do you want to put security on one window? Do you want to put security on another window? We're not going for the licensing. We've got very good utilities already out there in Sequin and so on. Pointless reinventing the wheel there. But we do want to give GSEC at least some kind of niche part to it. So as well as doing the usual screen security, it's also got touch UI enhancements. So you can ask for a PIN number and give it a particular paint pattern. So mode 1 will give you 2 rows of 5 balloon buttons rearranged every time you go in. So if they're using it for touch, They won't know to just do 1, 2, 3, 4. The one will be in one place, then it'll be in another place. It will do fingerprint recognition, and now we've got the comms, it will also do face recognition. So, yeah, basically, we've got our work cut out. And that's the direction we're going. Any questions? No? Time to give a couple of prizes away then. So the first prize, prices. Sorry, prices, yes. Can we, can everybody, Wendy, can you collect a bag, just the names? The prices of the actual products. The Sweet Pro, Kojak Sweet Pro product is $500, but we've got a $75 discount for CIDC for this week. And the price for the Chillcat wrapper will be $400. While it's in beta, we're taking it down to $320, and while it's CIDC this week, it's $300. We've knocked another 20 off. Don't really want to go much lower because you've got so much work already in it.
Did I understand you to say the old G count, you were totally rewriting that as source code?
We've done that, and it's been out. It's been out for a number of years now. Yeah.
I think I bought like 3 copies of that, and they had DLLs in them.
Oh no, there's no DLLs. The actual G-Calc, the new one, isn't there.
Used to be Gitano.
It was, yes. Well, and then it was Gitano, and then Wingnut took some, and we purchased them from Wingnut.
Good little program.
So the newer version is pure Clarion source, no DLLs, and it included new styles. Oh, just 1 second. So the first prize, so there's the new styles you can see. We're going to give a total away of 4 prizes, 2 tonight and then 2 tomorrow, which is what we changed it with John. Didn't you get the memo? Okay, the first prize is for a copy of our Chillcat wrapper template. That's now the first prize, the first one out. Chillcat wrapper template, along with the actual Chillcat license. The Chillcat license is $289. So this includes this. So this is a $639 prize. It's the full API comms. It's the zipping, it's JSON, XML, REST, OAuth 1, OAuth 2, certification, the whole 9 yards.
David Johnson.
Okay, I need to make a... Yep, in fact, I've got your business card, so it's even one better.
Okay, what's the second one?
And the second one, and the other 2 tomorrow, will basically be a $100 credit to anything on our website. So basically, now?
Right now?
Right now.
Right now. Right now. Like Amazon.
Congratulations. Hang on, Paul.
What's real funny is
Didn't
I
you-
just hit pay now on buying Chillcat.
No.
Whoa. You bought Chillcat or his wrapper?
I already have the wrappers. I got the,
Okay.
Did you?
Tomorrow
Was it?
No, let's do them now. Suck it, let's do them now. We'll do the other 2 now.
Let's not listen to John.
Okay. You stuck around to You stuck around to put up with me, so it's only fair.
Not that hard. Okay, ready? See, now you can't
$100 credit.
You don't want it? We can put it back in. You don't want it? Hans Ruby. You don't want it? You don't have one? Wrapper? No, this door.
Okay, we're done. And for the, I've got to mention, Paul, did you bought the chill cat? You bought the chill cat controls? Okay. I've got them, yep. We've negotiated, but it's only for this week, with Chillcat, as long as you've not already bought them. No, joke. You normally get 1 year's updates and supports and so on, just like you do with CodeJock. But for attendees of CIDC, they'll give you 2 years. So if you've used the link, brilliant. If you've not used the link, you just email them, mention CIDC attendant, and they'll tag you another year on your subscription. Yes, I will do. Because, yeah, I did do for David, who bought it just recently, only last week, but I'll check with you as well. Yeah, no problem. No, well, thank you for staying back and attending. Thank you very much.